Hi, it's Tommy coming at you from beautiful Cape Cod. I am going to bring you a two-part video which starts with me this evening um, uh, and I'm going to be making lentil flatbread. So I'm going to show you how I start it, and then after that, uh, because it has to soak overnight. Um, So, uh, I'm Tommy. I'm a 64-year-old woman doing bright line eating, maintaining 100+ pound weight loss, and I have Hashimoto's disease, I have osteoporosis, and those are some of the other challenges that I've faced on my journey. So I'm going to show you how to make a very easy lentil flatbread. So we start with a mason jar, some lentils, red lentils. Red lentils. You can also get, Goya sells red lentils. So this recipe, literally 1 cup measure of red lentils. You have to use the red lentils because they're split and porous. So this makes a half sheet pan of red lentil flatbread, and it counts as a protein. So if you're you can have a bread-like substance even if you are not having a grain at lunch or dinner. I have used this to make I'm going to use this because that way I won't end up spilling any of it. So there, I put it in the mason jar, and next step, I am going to fill the mason jar full of water. Just tap water, cold. And then I will take this and leave it overnight. Try to get a little less glare for you there. And it will just sit overnight. Super easy. And then tomorrow drain it, and I'll show you what you do the rest. See you later. Good morning. So here are my lentils. I am going to rinse them in the sink with a colander and rinse them very well. Never use the water that they soaked in overnight. So here are my rinsed lentils. Sorry about the glare, but the sun is rising this morning. I'm going to get rid of this water that just came from. So I am going to grab a rubber scraper and carefully get this into my blender jar. I left mine sitting on the counter last night. Other times of the year I will put them in the refrigerator. I covered my jar. Whatever works for you. Obviously, if it's warm and the water is going to get warm and they're going to start to ferment or something, you don't want to. But you're just doing them overnight. So this is something you're going to do. So I'm also going to turn around in a second and turn my oven on to 350. And I am doing this in the morning so that they'll be ready for my lunch. And I'm going to actually have my lentil flatbread with, I'm either going to, maybe later in the week, make pizza from it by putting marinara and some cheese on it. And today I'm going to put some nut butter on it. So I will use 3 ounces instead of a full 6 ounce serving. I will use 3 ounces of lentil flatbread and an ounce of nut butter, and that will be my full protein serving. So here it is, just nice and simple there. And then the only other ingredients is a half a teaspoon of salt, that's a full teaspoon. You just want a half a teaspoon. Here's a half a teaspoon. So I'm going to use pink Himalayan salt. Yeah, it kind of goes with the whole pink thing going on here. I'm having trouble finding a salt shaker. Okay. Now I'm not going to be able to open it. I am going to use another kind of salt because I'm having trouble. I've got some, I think this is Australian, whatever. This is Australian salt, sea salt. So I'm just going to put a half teaspoon of salt in there, and you start out with a half a cup of water, but can go up to 3/4 cup of water, and you want it to just be fully blended. And as I said, I need to preheat my oven to I believe 350. 350. Okay. So this is called Easy Lentil Flatbread. It's made with red lentils, and I will put a link in the description to this recipe. You know, literally 3 simple ingredients. Raw red lentils that have been soaked overnight, a half a cup to 3/4 a cup of water, and a half a teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to start, so I've got my water here, and I'm going to put in a half a cup to start, and then I'm going to add more as I think it might need it. I may turn this off in a second because of it. Okay, sorry that was so much noise, but I don't like to turn it off and you know, there's still some stuck to the sides. I'm going to try to avoid those because if you turn it off, then it you know, goes up. You turn it off and start it again, it goes up, and you end up with a lot more on the sides. So next, what you really need to have is a Sil Pat or a silicone mat. So this is a an M mat I got at Amazon, and then this was one we have what we call swap shops around here, and this was an Amazon Basics, and both work excellently. The other thing is you need a half sheet pan. I guess it's she says in the directions it's 12 by 17. So as you see, it fits like perfectly in here. And then the other optional ingredient, which I am not going to use today, is everything but the bagel seasoning. Trader Joe's has a great one. I also have a Spice House blend of everything but the bagel as well too. Everything bagel here. So this is a Spice House blend, very good as well too. But again, I'm going to use mine for either making a flatbread pizza or making peanut butter sandwiches. So, or you know, nut butter sandwiches. So, so the next part is pretty simple. You just take, and I'm gonna shift this down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to pour it out on this pan. You can, you know, grease it. I actually meant to grease it. And at some point you are going to want a rubber scraper to get out most of it. So you know, get most of it out, and then you want to try to make sure it's spread as evenly as possible. Now, you can make it a little less thick if you want, you know, like you can make it, leave it thick, or you can thin it out. So, and you know, just depending on the lentils, sometimes you need the little bit more water, sometimes you don't. And once it does start to, you know, show that it's mixing all the way, you want to leave it for another 30 seconds or more so that you're sure that that it's thoroughly mixed. So I'm gonna, you know, try to spread this out a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and go fairly thin with mine. It really doesn't matter, because when you're for bright line eaters, when you're eating this, you're weighing out your portion, and this would count as a protein, and a normal weight loss protein serving would be 6 ounces. Again, I said what I'm going to do today is have 3 ounces of flatbread and 1 ounce of nut butter, and that will be a complete protein. And I can either, you know, possibly, I'll show you, I'm probably going to make, I may slice some apple to have with it in the sandwich, kind of make a sandwich, flatbread sandwich. So you do want to try to make sure it's as even as you can get it, so that it doesn't burn in spots. And you really have to have the silicone mat. It will stick to anything else. You can't possibly put enough oil. And this you can even just kind of, you'll see when I go to take it off, I hope, that you can, you know, just peel it off even. So, there we go. I'm going to stick this in the oven, and it is going to cook for approximately 30 minutes. So, there it is, going in the oven. And like I said, you could make it, I could make it thinner, but I'm okay with it being a little thicker. So sometimes when I make it, it does fill the entire pan. And yeah, if you want more, it makes more sense, in my experience, to make 2 recipes than it does to make a double batch at one time. Just how it works. So I will be back to show you when it comes out. Timer's going off. Gonna check it. So there it is. I'm pretty sure it's done. Yep. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it on a cooling rack. Just pull the sill pad off and put this someplace where I won't hurt myself. The person who did this recipe too, the original person I had, was a bright line eater as well, and she said she's found that 6 ounces of this spread is a lot, and I agree. That's why I usually do like 3 ounces or 4 ounces. I split, you know, my protein that way. I was going to show you. Yeah, I want to let it cool a little while, but I don't know. Let me see if I can take this down. You know, I'm real high tech here. Just gonna move my thing, and you can see just kind of peel away the sill pad. Now see here, it got too thin on some of the edges and it's not gonna peel away very easily. So, I mean, obviously if it breaks, it's still edible, but I think I should probably let it cool a little while longer. Yeah, and usually if you're gonna use the everything but the bagel seasoning, you would sprinkle it on before you bake it. Yeah, she doesn't really say anything about cooling, but I usually do try to let it cool because it just seems to get a little more pliable once it's cooled a little bit. Again, it's all still edible if it breaks. And you could even spray a little bit of cooking spray on your sill pad if you wanted to. I'm going to let it cool for a while and I'll come back. So I'm back. It's been cooling for a while. This is not going to be a great successful one. It is sticking a lot. Again, it will still be tasty. I may lose some of it, but yeah, it's like the bottom layer is not gonna come off easily. You can see that it's sticking. So see if I even, I'm just using a flat spatula spreader to try to get it off. The other thing I wanted to be sure and tell you is this is not something you want to make, you know, Bright Line Eating, we're famous for batch cooking. You don't want to batch cook too much of this ahead of time. It does not keep well. So her suggestion is that you put it in a bowl, put it in some sort of container and just put a towel over it. I put it in a plastic bag, just haven't sealed it, and I definitely leave it out on the counter. And you do want to eat it within, 24, 48 hours at the most. It can mold, so that's the whole thing of not wanting to, do a bunch of it ahead of time. It's fine to do a bunch of it if you're feeding a bunch of people, but yeah. Like if my husband and I were going to do pizzas, I might do 2 batches. But yeah, this one did not come out the best. Sorry about that. But I will show you. Oh, look, now the center part. For some reason, it stuck along some of the edges. I don't know why. There, so now it's all the way off. So I'm going to transfer this to a cutting board right there. And you can see how much of that stuck. But I'm just gonna leave it. But now I'm gonna cut it, and I have my nut butter weighed out here. And I'm actually doing cashew butter today. That's why I always say I'm gonna have nut butter, because I have different kinds of nut butter. And I'm gonna I could have weighed the whole thing, but I'm just gonna guesstimate and cut a portion and put it on there and see how much that is. So again, that was like a little less than 1/3 of it, and that's less than 3 ounces. So yep, I have just a little smidge over 3 ounces. There, 3 ounces. And I'm going to take nut butter, and we'll spread it on here, and I will enjoy this for my lunch today. So, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something. Perfection is, remember, not our aim. And if you enjoyed it, please push the like and subscribe and comments. If there's anything you'd like to see me make, put it down in the comments. Have a bright day.